Or it could just be me. So I'm waiting for some chicken nuggets to come out of the oven. It could just be me eating chicken nuggets and you're like banging around in the back of your room. That's a
Yeah,
bang of cold open.
that's a bang of a cold open, and we are live. So yeah, the episode 21 of Skill Issue. Again, as I will say until the day we finish the show, we're still at it. 21 weeks, absolutely amazing. How are you doing, Tate?
Oh yeah. I'm good. Just finished mopping my entire apartment. Huge success. Floor is no longer sticky. Yes.
Do we
Yeah.
need to ask more?
Yeah. I don't actually know. It's a great question.
Wait, did you
Which we
come
will
back
not
to
delve.
sticky floors? Like, did you come home to sticky floors? Because that's, I think, an even
No,
bigger question.
that is weird. Yeah, that would be concerning. No, I don't know what caused it, but they are no longer sticky.
Hell yeah.
And we will not speculate anymore on this podcast how they got like that. Yeah, I'm good. Been sort of busy with work. Played an RTT in the weekend.
How'd it go? How'd it go?
3. Went 2-1, and I genuinely think I had it in the bag.
Oof.
But we hit the Necron skew, and T6 is not the friend of my little meme list, especially if it doesn't have a character attached. But even then, close game. Like we were top table, and we lost by 10, 15-ish with top of turn. So
Decent.
like totally into Necrons as well.
Yeah.
So
what kind of Necrons?
yeah,
What detachment was it?
Cursed Legion with 1 Catan.
Okay.
So that was Cursed Legion with Nightbringer. And ironically, that was because there was a Pantheon list there, and I was like, please give me Pantheon. Like, please. Because I have, like, specifically tech for it. I just roll 4-up Chronopain bricks into it that regrow models, and they just mill around in combat on points. But this was a problem specifically because of all the Locust Destroyers, because how my army kills things is it's all Strength 5 with really high volume and access to anti-vehicle 4-up, +1 to wound versus character, +1 to wound versus infantry. Locust Destroyers are T6, are not characters, are not infantry. They just wound on 5s with no rerolls. And then they reanimate, etc.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of
ever
grim.
so slowly kill me.
It's kind of grim.
Yeah.
But you kept it close. What was the end score in that game?
What's that, sir?
What was the end score in that game?
Find it. It was 78-68.
It's still real close, 11-9, right? Like that's like
you'd
be happy with it in a team score. Out of a Necron game at the moment.
Yeah, no, I was, but I was thinking the Xenocreed list is so clock intensive to play. It's like it was effectively like 149 models. And most of them have a feel no pain.
Oh yeah, it's like killer. Yeah. I played a green Titleist once, and I ran the triple pain boys, and then I was like, never again. It's just not worth. You don't gain the durability out of the time that you lose from just having to like constantly pick up dice. It's like, nah.
It's like a weird. They're like durable into some things. And last night I played the same list just because it was in my box, and almost had them live a Storm of Fire Reaper, which would have been cute. Because I would have lived on the point and regrown my models. So that's kind of what they're trying to do. They underswing slightly, and then you regrow the models, and they have fallback and charge, all sorts. And they go and kill something. So the list worked well. I can definitely see it being a thing in teams, but so I've played a couple of really good players here now, and both of their comment has been it just lacks punch. Like as soon as the opponent realizes that it lacks punch, you can kind of just go exist on objectives. And I think that's an issue with it, but it's fun. It does have legs as long as it's not like playing the things that can't kill. It's pretty obnoxious. Like there's sort of all your units surge, all your units can surge. You have advance and charge.
Yeah.
It is very annoying. Like because you have 3 units that do surge, and then you have a stratagem to put it on battle line, and the rest of your army is basically battle line. So it's like you're just surging everywhere. And I did the the cutest play round 1 actually. I was playing versus Oxcadre, and he puts his which is this guy's like very good local player. It's not meme Oxcadre. He auto advance 6s, advances and charges his rampages, shoots them up, and he's like, everything's out of 6 of this unit here. I'm lining up to charge these metamorphs. I was like, whoops, I've put them a bit too far up. I forgot he had auto advance 6.
Yep.
And then he shoots the other unit that I can't make combat. He's 7 away.
Yep.
I roll the 5 on surge, and I'm like, I'm surging sideways, but like 0.1 inches closer to you guys on the other side of the wall, and we are move blocking these rampages.
Yours doesn't. You don't have to end as close as possible.
No.
Oh, nice.
I don't think so, but it would still like.
Yeah, because some of them are worded that like, one model has to end physically close as possible, then the rest can just go wherever.
I think it still would have been fine because it's like the nook, and so this is WTC terrain because it's like one of them goes towards the boys, and the other 2 just need to end up in the gap between 2 ruins because rampages are fat.
Yeah, really are.
And then he did no impact models to those guys as well.
That's the like 2 games I've ever played with rampages. I have done one time. I did like with 1 unit of 6. I did like 12 mortals, and I was like, these things will kill God. And then the next time I rolled no 4-ups, and I was like, these guys suck.
Yeah,
it's like there's like no in between with them. But yeah, that's cool though. That's like Orcscad, like that kind of style surely would be like. Would want to hunt things like GSC. So if you could build a list that's like good into that kind of style thing, because like Orcscad is designed to like kind of play the same way as like GSC kind of want to play. They want to flip your primary, hit the thing over there, you get the extra AP damage over there. Like, they kind of play like a more bitsy style than like other Tau does.
Yeah. And they have the T6 not infantry not character.
Yeah.
Is such a cunt. Like
it's very funny.
The one saving grace is no bad save was like what let me kill rampages. But yeah.
You can just
what about you? Sorry.
Yeah.
Banged on pages.
Nah, you're good. You're good. What have I done? I played Bastion into Double Dawn on the weekend. That was fun. I lost basically an entire 20-man and a Repex each to an individual Dawn, which both didn't feel very great, but hey, it is what it is. But it's just like the high side of average, But it was a fun game, and playing against Matt was a good time. Didn't play a whole lot of other games. Played another Orc game, which was fine. Like it was just another Green Tide game, but still interesting. I think Green Tide actually is genuinely quite good current meta because you just have so many bodies, and it has that same thing that you were just saying about like everything can blood surge. But the cool thing about the Green Tide blood surge is you don't even have to lose a model. It's just like after you target it, and then it's just like, oh, you've targeted me. At the end of this activation, I am moving D6 with a reroll, which is like pretty hot.
You shot me? You dared to shoot me? Idiot.
Yeah, that's quite cool. So you can just put in like weird positions where you have like 2 overlapping units, and like if they they shoot one and then you pull it, you pull back out of line of sight, and they're like, oh, you're gonna shoot the other one because you don't blood surge the first one, you blood surge the second one if they've gotten like out of so you can just like do like funny manipulation things. But the issue I have with that kind of style list is it just doesn't have any damage outside of Gaz's unit. Like it genuinely, like boys, even with full wound rerolls at AP1 just don't do enough. Like
it's tough, because that's basically exactly the issue I had at Metamorphs at AP1. And I played 12 Victrix Guard Ultramarines last night, and my Roxor unit killed 1 Victrix Guard unit. They fought on death, and that was that. And I was like, yay, I now can't kill anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a problem. I think like both of those things function fine in teams.
Yep.
Like if they can avoid Armor of Contempt.
Yeah. I actually think Orcs are fine in like Green Tide would actually be fine in singles. It has a couple of things that it's real bad into, but it just has the potential to get enough of a lead over the first like 3 turns of the game because you just have so many bodies. Like the list that I was running is like 180 models or something like that, you know? Like it's just so much stuff. And, you know, 120 of them are, you know, 5-up invul because Green Tide. And then you have the 6 units of commandos, which are all stealth and can't be overwatched. So you move block with them early game. So you kind of get the early tempo out of them. The not overwatch from commandos, by the way, is actually crazy. When it first was a thing on the 10-mans, didn't really matter. Now it's a 5-man idiot unit that you can move block with. Oh my god, it's just like, oh, overwatch that. It's like, no. No, you won't. it's so value because it's like, oh, okay, cool, you can't, like, there's been times it's like, oh, I can just put my tank here and sit down there. It's like, oh, what if I just have these 5 idiots in the way? It's like, I'll just overwatch them. It's like, no. That's like, yeah. So it's been quite good for stuff like that. Like, often you're throwing them away. Like, even like the good halves where you have like the 2, like, the Breacher Ram and the Power Claw and stuff. Often you have to throw those sides away because it's like 60 points still. And you're just stopping them from getting like a firing line to shoot a 20-man or something, which is just awesome. And then if they have to charge you, like then they just shoot you, and then they're either in the open. Which, to be fair, you can kind of disrespect any orc shooting. Like, I was running the 2 rockets and all the 20-mans just to give them like some amount of shooting. I killed like 1 marine with all the rockets that I shot throughout the game. So it's like, is what it is. Yeah, value. But like, you know, you're never going to get 20 guys fighting at once, pretty much. So like those have been fun. Painted up my front door on the weekend, so that was exciting. Felt like
I would like to point out. That was your update last week as well.
Was it
painting front door?
Oh, I think we were going to paint the front door last week, and now we have painted said front door. So yes, that was exciting. I felt like a real house owner. That was cool. And now we realize that the door off to the side, which is like the double door into like the lounge, is painted the same color that the old door was. So now we have to paint that because now they don't match. So it just added more work. So, yeah.
The tribulations of being in the homeowners association.
Oh, mate, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Neighborhood watch struggles.
Yeah, the true struggles. We also got our first rate spill the other day, and I was like, no. I can feel the grey hair coming into my head already. But no, apart from that, we sold a car and I bought a couch, so I'm like, I feel like a salesman. Cool. Yeah. So I bought the car for $2,500 and I sold it for $4,000, so I felt like a real salesman there as well. I was like, hell yeah. And that paid for the couch, so I was like, I just made money. I got a free couch. It was amazing. So that was quite fun. Yeah.
It's like if anyone works at AMI Insurance, stop listening now. When my car got stolen, they overpaid my insurance by $5,000. That's
hell yeah. Yeah. The dream. Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, it's just been usual stuff. Work's been pretty crazy. I'm actually in Queenstown next week for work, so that'll be a bit busy. So next week's episode might be a little scuffed, or might have to be Friday night. But we'll work on that. I might be able to do it on the laptop. We'll see. But yeah, shall we get into this episode?
Mm-hmm.
So for this episode, we are going to just be, we both came up with some questions that we want to kind of like ask each other, ask the world, ask all of our viewers, all of our thousands and thousands of viewers. And just see what we kind of feel about, like, kind of some more like holistic questions. Some of them are a bit more targeted, but we both came up with a couple. We haven't told each other what each other's questions are, so we can have like a little bit of like, you know, actual live banter to make it really, really exciting and interesting.
We care so much about our viewers because we love you.
Yeah, this is true. We love you so much that we eat chicken nuggets live on stream. But yeah, so I guess I'll go first. I'll throw out the first question.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, good.
Is there too many factions in 40k to balance the game like well?
Ooh, that's a good one. I did not anticipate this one. To balance the game well, I guess. Damn, I'm gonna get Jordan Peterson on you right now. What do you mean by balance? I gotta.
Yes, it's so like how I would see balanced is there's been times in 40k where it's felt like, you know, you could play any faction and you know that feels like, and you feel like you have a shot, but throughout the basically entirety of 10th, there has been times where it's felt closer, but then when you actually really analyze it, there's always been like 2 or 3 detachments on 2 or 3 armies that have always still been like at least like a tier above. Like there's still been, whether everything wasn't like ATM may have been flooded, but there's still like 2 or 3 things that were just obviously better. And I don't know any time where there wasn't just an obvious, usually because like a new codex has come out or a new data set has just come out and they've accidentally flung things the opposite way too hard, like hit something too hard, but they like, you know, buffed another thing too hard. So like, is it just because there's, you know, 24 factions and like 170 detachments that they need to balance? Obviously they don't balance all the detachments, but like, is it just too much? And do we just need to find some kind of restriction to make things easier for Games Workshop to balance so we have a more balanced game, you know, from month to month?
Wow. I think that's a great question. I think there's a lot of nuance there. So I think yes and no. I think there are too many factions to balance the game to a point where you could have equal chance. You know, you're like, I'm going to a GT. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to, or I'm going into 2026 and I'm going to win ITC this year. What is the faction I'm playing? I'm going to play my favorite faction, and that's going to give me equal chance as any other faction. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah.
I think is just too hard. But I also think I would counter question: do you want to do that? Because I think one of the things that I really was worried about, for example, going into 10th when they were like simplified, not simple. Some armies are too hard to play, particularly we're getting rid of the psychic phase. I really enjoyed that about Thousand Suns. I was like, well, I don't want them to be easier to play. I like telling people I'm better than them. This is this is why I play this army. And I think like, or like the classic thing of what people are saying about GSC at the moment or have in the past, like you have to work really hard to get the same result as you do with another faction. And I like some armies being like that.
Yep.
I don't what I think you want though, and what I think you absolutely there is achievable with the amount of factions that there are in the game at the moment, is getting them to the point where they can compete. And it might just be harder. You might have some more bad matchups floating around that you just accept you're avoiding, or you might have to skew harder. Like it might be like EC to compete. You're like, I'm playing the list, and it's boring.
Yeah.
But I think you absolutely can get the game to that level. I don't think you can get it to I'm going to do a full year of GSC no matter what changes come, and I'm going to have the best possible chance I have of winning ITC or whatever. The only exception I think is probably Marines, just with how teams shake up and with how the Marine rules work in 10th. I don't think you can do that. I think there's just always your cookie cutter Marine.
Yep. I think with like, if Ultramarines were like, you know, taken out of the equation, I do think there would be like, even with Ultramarines in there, I still think there is like, because you can only take one of them, there is like options and teams. But I think in singles, it's very much like Ultramarines are just even if it's just slightly, they are better. You will win more games if you take Ultramarines.
Yeah, like for single, like the ITC example, Ultramarines teams, absolutely. There's other examples like, you know, NZ South might want to take Dark Angels. That's
we've got Dan in chat, Dan in Australia chat. And he's like, you've caught me at a very Chinese time of my life. I've got some burning questions because this hot pot is burning me. Absolutely ludicrous comment.
That might be the name of next week's episode.
Yeah.
I think in honor.
That is beautiful. Yeah. I think what I would want is a lot of it is like balanced around win rate right now, which I actually think is really incorrect. Because win rate, like, what do you want an army that will always, like, to win an event, do you want to have to get lucky then, right? Because if you want win rates to be 50%, right? If you want every army to have a 50% win rate, I think that, and you just have to like make sure that you're, you know, because you're never going to have a 50% win rate into every other faction. There'll be some that you'll be, 40%, 40-60, and then some that will be 60, and like it'll even out to 50, right? Like you're never going to have, it's not going to be like, if you just wanted 50% into everything, you just fucking play chess. Like there's other games you could play if you want it to be completely even every single game. So you want there to be nuance, you want there to be list building decisions, like, oh, I'm taking this 20-man unit because it's good against X, I'm expecting to see Y, so I'm trying to take this instead. You want that decision because that makes the game exciting. It's when those decisions are almost made for you. Like, oh, I'm playing Pantheon. Let's play 5 Catan and, 2 Reanimators, 2 Hex Marks, and just have all this stuff. And you can't, unless you tick your list very specifically to beat it, it's just too powerful, right? Pantheon had like a 78% win rate or something like that this past week. Like, it was absolutely ludicrous.
70.8.
70 sorry, yeah.
Still ridiculous.
Still just that doesn't really change it. And they won was it 9 out of 13 events or something crazy?
No, it was
was it like 13 out of 16?
8 out of 16 or something.
Yeah, it was like literally half. And I think on StatCheck they were saying that it was like if you take all of Necron's win rates since when the new stuff came out, if you take them, it takes the next 3 best armies in the game like tournament wins to match them. Like that's how dominant they have been. Like that's what I wanted to get rid of. Like that's the balance that I like, where you see things like that. And Ultramarines have been there as well. Eldar have been there. There's been a lot of different armies that have been in that thing. AdMech were there for a while, right? Before they got after the most recent buff. Before the most recent nerf. They were in that kind of crazy way. Mordaka Orcs were there for a time, right? They were just like this absolutely crazy thing. How do we get around just not having that anymore? But the rest I'm actually fine with. I don't care if my list is a 40% win rate on paper. I just wanted to have a game into things.
Sure. So because that was the other thing I was going to mention. I was like, there is plenty of stuff, because I agree with you. Win rate is the wrong metric, because you have shit like Marines being a fantastic example of something that is broken and has like a mid win rate.
Yeah.
Or you have like EC with it's like 42, 43% win rate and it's winning events.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
Like it's not broken, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I think, I absolutely agree. I think there's the current number of factions you can hit that point where there's variance and things are better than other things, but nothing is standout fucked and nothing is too weak. I just think there's without turning into the like the old hammer GW hater conspiracy theorist, I think there's stuff like sales and also just a little bit of I do think perhaps they don't quite have the right people balancing the game. Like maybe a little bit of it is they also have to balance for casual, they have to balance for people that want the rules to reflect the law a bit, maybe. Even though I don't think Kent has been amazing for that. I think maybe those other factors are what side of model sales sometimes results in the sort of crazy rules, or not anticipated interactions. But I think that could be improved with better playtesting.
I generally don't think some things get playtested whatsoever.
Or I think you could hire, because you know how they've hired like Josh Roberts, you could just do every the rules team is ex-competitive players. You could do that. I think that would probably result in a more balanced set of factions, and you also wouldn't have the rightly, correctly or not, the Josh Roberts favoring his factions thing, because everyone would balance each other out.
I think what would be cool from Games Workshop is doing a pre-data slate for the data slate. So 2 weeks before the actual, it becomes legitimate for tournament play, you have 2 weeks where it's a soft data slate. So it has time for people to critique it. Hey, this might actually be too strong. This might not be enough. And you'll get a lot of hate, but you'll get a lot of traction on the different changes. And then 2 weeks after, they bring out the actual data slate, which is a refinement of what they put out the 2 weeks before. So you can start playing it. So you'll basically have the same thing. But it won't be tournament legal until it's actually truly released. So that way they can try and fine tune it faster, because sometimes it feels like they do a data slate and then there's obviously instantly something wrong. So then something else needs to be fixed. So it gives them that kind of time to do that, you know, for each starter slate. Because if we're only getting one every quarter, like having, you know, a suit like an early one a couple weeks beforehand doesn't change anything. Everyone likes more new rules, you know, and it gives you kind of an excitement. So you had the first one, okay, cool. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to have this locked in. Let's start getting practice, and then because things won't change greatly, and they might be exactly the same, but it's just like a cool way of like being able to like fine tune it faster. Because I feel like that's half the issue.
Yeah. I think that's so I mean, we are clearly a genius because I had a very similar idea on the walk back from the supermarket. No, I think that's a great idea. Mine was sort of geared towards a similar thing slightly differently, is you have you release the data slate and it's similarly not tournament legal, and you go FAQs are now open for the starter slate. They will close on X date, and you have a team that is like, we fix all these FAQs, we churn out like a clarifications document for the starter slate. And that could include like I don't know, say the Nightbringer profile, the Deceiver profile come out via data slate. Could include, we whack -1 damage off them. That if multiple people submit that these are too strong.
Yeah, I like it. I think there's enough on the first topic. What is your first question for today?
Got to pull up my notes.
Hell yeah.
Did I screenshot them? I did. Okay. I'm actually going to go to, because I'm going to go to my third question because I think it flows better from your first question. And that is, if you look at the lifespan of 10th edition, what faction was the most well-balanced internally and externally, in the sense that you want it to be measure like the gold standard for balance for 11th?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. What faction is the gold standard for balance? Salamanders.
Bro, they're D tier. You gotta check the skill issue. The skill issue things.
Nah, if I really had to answer, I would say like the power level of like Tau for the most part has actually been quite good. They've had some like playstyle, like I'm not talking about playstyle, but actual like power level. They were never like they never really got to S tier. They were in the high A tier, but then they've been in like, you know, B and C tier at times this edition. But for the most part, they've always had a game into stuff. They have some bad matchups, but you kind of want to have stuff to have some dynamicacy. Like you want that to have like, you don't want something that's just like average into everything. You want something that has good matchups and bad matchups. Like that's what makes things more exciting. So something like Tau, but obviously that's because I play Tau, so I have a bit more. But I kind of have to do this off the factions that I've played against a lot. Like, I really don't think it's Marines. I think Marines have actually been horrible this edition for balance.
Internal and external. Like both. Both metrics have been terrible.
Yeah, the internal balance of Tau is a little bit different because you just don't have that many data sheets. Like you have to take basically Riptides, Ghost Kills, or Hammerheads, or a mix of them. But yeah,
it's still better than like almost every detachment, even I would say, other than like maybe Experimental Kydra, has been viable. At some point in the edition. And what has been the best one has changed, and I think even now you could argue about what the best one is.
Exactly, which is pretty cool. So I would say Tau is like my kind of, if everything was roughly there where it has, you know, good matchups, bad matchups, it does its thing well. I feel like Tau could be a bit better at shooting. They've kind of, with the Kroot stuff and the new Rampages and stuff, they've kind of tried to like add a melee aspect to them, which I just like. I would love like melee crisis suits, but I don't think big mounted gorillas is probably the way to go there.
Look, Tim Ho disagrees with you.
True. Though to be fair, I think Kroot Hunting Pack might actually be kind of interesting for teams, so I might have to play a game with it. So that'll be interesting.
It's good. I got a friend here that only plays Kroot Hunting Pack, and he's real good with it.
So like, it's one of those things. Like, as much as I'm talking on it, I still think like, well, I might still have to play it. So because I'm open for anything for teams, right? So you really have to keep your eyes open. But it's cool. Like again, all the Kroot stuff becomes viable because of Kroot Hunting Pack, right? Like you see Rampages in like Orcs CAD or Kroot Hunting Pack. You see pretty much like all the other Kroot stuff. You only really see carnivores outside of Kroot Hunting Pack. But like just because they give you sticky and scout, like 2 amazing things.
Yeah, that's the trash unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's really few data sheets that you just never see. Like apart from like obviously the fortifications and like the old
the tide wall.
The tide wall, yeah. Tide wall, drone port. Hell yeah. But you see the transport, you see pretty much all the tanks. Even the flyers, like they've been popular throughout the edition, right? Whether it's been the Tiger Sharks, even the Razor Sharks and stuff have been like throughout this edition, there's been times where like when Orcscad first came out, like Double Plane was like pretty popular with them. So like throughout the edition, they've had like, if you had a full Tau collection, you probably would have touched it, pretty much every model, which is pretty cool. Like, what about yourself? What's your like ideal faction?
I really should have thought about this when I wrote this question down. I would also, the other thing just on Tau Wall, I think, is they also can be built for lots of different metas. I think like one of those things about having units that, like, you could argue this is a bad thing, but about having units that like this is their thing that they do. This is the anti-tank unit.
Yep.
This is the anti-marine unit. Is it means you can like, oh, the meta's this. I'm gonna take one more of this.
Yep.
What is my like gold standard? I want to say we're just both going to pick our own armies. Like, in a sense, GSC, because I think when it hasn't been like early edition when it was munted or the period where it was terrible, it's been something that is like really mid if you don't know what you're doing, but is totally capable of winning an event if you do know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's like, I would argue in terms of like power, that is incredibly balanced. And then also, similar thing to Tau, all of the detachments have been at least viable. Like, maybe again, not all simultaneously, but at different points, you could say that each one of these has been the best GSC detachment, or is capable of winning a GT. With the exception of the Guard one, I think all of them have had that.
Brood Brothers, my kings.
I reckon I'm going to put this on the board before the edition ends. I reckon there's like a 30 bikes, 30 Rough Riders, or maybe even 30 bikes, 30 Death Corps Riders, because they got the inbuilt reactive move, right?
Yeah.
There's like a that, and then like infantry horde, like recon-esque list.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Is it good? Probably not.
Yeah. And I guess you do take most of the units in GSC like quite often. Like, you don't have the hugest roster of units, which makes it easier to utilize most of them, right? Like, you don't really take aberrants unless you're playing bio, but
you take them in final day sometimes.
Yes, so like but there is the balance where you're like, oh, they're not bad if you throw them into any, right? Like, you probably don't put them in host, but like anything else you can take them, and they're not gonna weigh your list down, which is like quite nice, right? Even all the characters with the 35 characters that you have access to, like most of them are actually pretty good. Like, they do their thing, which is what you're saying. Like, these things just do their thing. If you want that thing, you have access to it, which is like quite nice. You know, like, do you want lethals? Yeah. Do you want reactors? Do you want mortal wounds? Like, you have all these options of like, and you can take, like, if you want to do that thing, you can do it 3 times because all the characters are like 12 points. So,
yeah. Well, this like my Xenocreed list has like 7-8 characters, and some of them are not attaching every, like, it's for this matchup, these units are getting these characters.
Which is really cool. Stuff like that, I love that in list building. Like, stuff like that where you're like, oh, and you can like, it's very fun.
I think it's real good in GSC as well, because they're all small bases and have deep strike. So when they're not attached, they're just like, behind enemy lines, establish locus. Like,
nice. Yeah, trying to screen out a 25 mil base or 28.5 mil base is just obnoxious.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a guy ask me what my smallest unit footprint was, and start measuring like a big brick, and I pulled out my Magus, and I was like,
hell
this...
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's GSC doesn't feel quite right, because it's like if you averaged GSC, it would feel right, but I think it's spiked too much to actually be like I wouldn't want your sort of like gold standard for faction balance to have that many ups and downs.
Yeah, it could be something like, nah, I don't love this, but like Dark Angels, you know, like they've been pretty average. Like they haven't been horrible. They're probably the worst they have been now, which is not that bad. Like
I think
they always do their thing.
They do the thing. They push the button. They're similar to GSC though, and then they've up and down a lot. Like there was a WTC where they were best Marines.
That's fair.
And then they were very trash as well. Like it's yeah,
it's tough. I'm still locking in Tau. I think Tau is a brilliant answer. So
I agree. Tau is a good answer. Other than that, what could we say? Maybe Sisters. I would also, because like Sisters, all the they've been like a lot. If you just count the period where they were
the triple exorcist like cancer time, it was pretty bad. Like that was pretty bad.
I played my final day list versus triple exorcist, and I was like, this is fucked. Like one exorcist, one taps a Ridge Runner with indirect. And then I realized my opponent sucked, and I was like, oh,
nice, yeah.
Because it was such a bad matchup.
I can't believe you talking smack about Chad like that.
Yeah, he knows. I was like, what? Constantly when I play him, I'm like, wow, you're really bad at this game. That's
funny. Yeah, I do think Sisters, like, I think the issue is they kind of like they were kind of real bad for a little portion. Where like no one took them. Like it was just literally Mitch Beard, the one guy that's like great on them.
But wasn't that it was like a build not figured out thing, right? Like it was the really bad, and then he was like, guys, you just go real wide and 30 echoes.
Yeah.
Like
it's true. And like that's the trickiest thing, right? Like so the internal balance was there, but like it took someone like 2 months to figure it out, which is like a tough thing, because then like in a month's time things change again, right? So it's like, is that build still valid even? But yeah, I do think Sisters are pretty good. The indirect spam time with Bringers was pretty bad. Then we had like the triple Castigators, triple Exorcist, and like they go first, they nuke your one biggest thing first, and you're like, this doesn't feel great.
Yeah, the move 18 dump some guy. Oh, sorry, Triumph move like 21 or whatever. Dump people out. Dump 5 Retributors out. Then they +1 to win. Re-roll everything versus your home objective.
Yeah, that was grim. And then the 10 Seraphim with Flamers, getting like 70 shots or something. Like it was just like it was grim. Like there was times where they've been good, but I don't think there was any time where they were truly oppressive. Like they were good, but they weren't like truly oppressive. There was definitely builds to beat them, and like the builds weren't like skewing crazy. It's not like you were trying to beat like Knights or like the new 5 Catan builds or something. Like it still was like a very beatable style. It just felt bad because indirect just always feels bad. Like especially D6 damage and indirect feels real bad when they can just like, oh, that's a 6.
Yeah. I think Sisters actually is there because also I'd say again, other than Penitent Host, all their builds have been viable.
Yep.
And I guess Army of Faith, but even Stephen Box, the nicest man at 40k, was winning events with that. So
yeah, no, exactly. And I think it's fine. Army of Faith is fine. Champions is good. Hallowed Martyrs is really good.
Yeah.
Champions is probably better. I don't know, like they're both like Champions and Hallowed Martyrs like flip flop for me, but
I think for singles Champions is better. But I think Hallowed Martyrs has just like a bit more sort of blunting it goes wide better, so can play teams, like can play to lose a bit better.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go into my next question now, which kind of leads on like we didn't plan this, but this question kind of like falls into it. Also, kind of like falls into where I was thinking with my last question. So it might just be that I'm a god at writing these questions. But is the freedom in list building part of the cause of the meta imbalances this edition? So like just being like, you know, like because we've had detachments in older editions. You know, we when I first started playing, we had the Force Org chart where you only got 2 HQs. You got 6 troops. You had 3 elites, 3 fast attack, 3 heavy support. That was obviously very restrictive in a very different time in 40k. But then we got the different detachments that came out. And like, even from 8th edition, we had the crazy detachment times where you took the loyal 32 with you, which was 30 guardsmen and yeah, and then the command squad, right? Like you'd take that kind of stuff, like and that was obviously a different time, but it added different restrictions where we just don't have anything now. Like the only restriction is the detachment that gives us an ability, which gives us a guide of how to build the list. But like you can just take 3 of anything, sometimes 6, depending on detachment.
I was again. Oh my, we're so in sync and we're so good at this because I was thinking about this the other day, the force org chart, and like maybe bring that back. I don't know. I do think that the simplification that detachments brought has been really good for the game. But I do think there's a middle ground to be struck because I do think the way points shake out and the fact that there is no force org chart does sort of push you into, and when I say points, I mean like no war game nuance.
Yep.
Does push you into just spamming the best things, which I think does lend it. I don't think is solely the cause of, or even the biggest cause of balance issues, but it does contribute. I think, because like if there's no restriction on you bringing 5 Catan. If it is a rules and points efficient thing to do, then you do it.
Yep.
And I also think it, in terms of like in 9th and to a degree in 8th as well, like the cookie cutterness and the sort of meta hierarchy of detachments could be avoided by having something like in 9th how you could always ally your own faction.
Yeah.
If you could go, I'm taking 1,500 points of Gladius, but 500 points of Ironstorm with their own like warlord, I think that might shake up build diversity / like could even unlock some builds for struggling factions. Because I know for a while in 9th when Thousand Suns was bad, you go the a detachment of Cult of Time with Terminators, and then you'd have your teleporting detachment. You know, like it just they rounded out each other. And I think not only is that more interesting, but does help with balance and just general variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the thought of like when I wrote this question down, the first thing that came to my mind is, do armies on the table look like armies? Because that's what the original Force org chart, the design of it in 4th edition, this is when I started playing. It was designed to make your army look like an army, right? Because you had to take 2 troops, you had to take these things, right? Same with the battalion in 8th edition, where you had to take 2 HQs, 3 troops, right? Like the 3 battle line now. That's what they're called now. Like that made your list look like a Warhammer list. Yes, everything around it was weird, but at least you had this core which was designed to look like the bones of an army. Whereas, and I came to the same conclusions. Like there is some armies that look like armies, but like I play Tau and like maybe I take breaches if the meta calls for them, but like a lot of the time they just don't do enough damage, and like, you know, there's a damage race in 40k, and they just don't really, you know, check that box a lot. Where like, you know, would I rather have 2 units of breaches or a Riptide? I was like, well,
like if you're a hyper technologically advanced fish, you're gonna wear the Riptide suit. Like that is what your army looks. You're not running around on foot.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I do agree. More from the balance perspective, like I think that's does it look like an army is valid. But I also think the Force org chart fixes balance, like forcing you to not like. I mean, sucks to suck EC players, but triple demon prints not allowed by the Force org chart.
Yeah,
you know, 5 Catan not. What if the Force org chart said, you know, like in 9th edition, GSC had a rule called Gene Sect, which was characters didn't take up slots on the Force org chart.
Yeah.
But every character was essentially an epic hero. You couldn't spam characters.
Yeah.
So like Catan could do that. You could have a Catan slot and it doesn't take up your character or your HQ slot.
But then you can only take one. Cool. Answers the Catan issue. Like because that means you could also have more broken things. If you like, you could only have you know, heavy support doesn't even have to be just like all your tanks. It could only be the really big tanks, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so like your repulsed executionators, your land raiders, stuff like that could be like your heavy support or whatever you want to call it now.
Yeah.
And you can take 2 of them, right? So that means you can't spam, if Repexes were ever really good, like they are now, you still wouldn't take 3 at the moment, but like if they were ever like, cheap on points, you wouldn't just slam 3 of them because, well, you can't now, like it means that things can be good because there's a limit to them. And the more limiting you have on something, the better that thing can be.
Yeah. And it also, I think it pushes creativity because there's genuine choices to be made. Like you have 3 elite slots. You want your, I don't know, you want your Incursors, you want your Victrix Honor Guard, and you want, what's another good thing in Marines? They kind of just spam that. You want your, I don't know, JPI are elites. Like you spam Victrix Honor Guard, you lose what is your scoring unit because it's in the same slot. So it's a genuine weakness your list has now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really think needs to be like buffed is battle line don't do enough.
No, they don't. And I think that is you reminded me of something I was going to say. I forgot. Attachments should have battle line attached to them with the Force org chart because it's similar to someone saying that they thought detachments should have a points cost. I heard on a podcast recently. I think you should have like your detachment determines your battle line unit, and you must take a certain amount of it to run that detachment. Like like Gladius. Maybe it's not very lore friendly, but you make it something weird for Gladius, so they're forced to take the odd
3 units of heavy intercessors. It's like, why? Yes,
because you're playing Gladius, and you need battle line.
You have to take one of each. You have to take 1 unit of intercessors, 1 assault intercessors, and 1 intercessor.
Yeah, maybe it's that you're the flexible detachment.
Yep.
Yeah. Stuff like that, or there could be like a unit. Like you need. I don't know, to play the Stormlance, you need Corsair Khan as your warlord, and you need 3 units of Outriders. That might have fixed the Thunderwolf cavalry spam problem without, without making it bad for Space Wolves detachments if they'd been out at the time.
So I think an answer to the question then is the freedom is part of the reason for the imbalance. And I think we both agree on that. The flexibility. I am a list builder. I love building lists. I love trying to come up with like interesting designs, interesting tools. How can I manipulate this to be able to deal with X? And the freedom is really good for that. But it also ends up being very bland a lot of the time. If a unit is good, you just take maximum, and there's no reason not to. Yeah, you just push that button and you just don't. You don't stop until the button stops flashing, right? Like, So like I think it really helps. Like it helps with the brewing side of things, but it also can for the highest level when things get when what is the best thing. Blade Guard are the best thing, right? So say if they are, you just take 12 to 18 Blade Guard. The maximum you can take with still getting everything else you need in your list. You just take the max of them, right? Which is just really boring a lot of the time. So having restrictions on stuff like that is like, well, so there's a pull between your aggressors, your Blade Guard, your eradicators, all this kind of stuff can all be like, there's tension there. It would make it a lot more interesting. But I don't know if we go back to as restrictive as the Force org chart, because that thing was pretty, 3 fast attack, whatever fast attack would be now. It's like everything that moves like over 8 inches or something. Like, I don't know. It was like, all your bikes or your jump infantry, but like, fast attack is probably the worst one because from pretty much every army, it would be the minimalist in it.
I don't know. I feel like now you'd take a lot of fast attack because you want like JPI. JPI is fast attack.
Yeah, true. Like, and storm speeders.
Yeah,
that's fair. Marines are probably the worst one to think about this because they have so many units. There will always be enough in each section. But if you go to like Emperor's Children, what would be your fast attack in Emperor's Children? Like, do you actually have any? Mauler Fiend?
If you're including demons, fiends, and seekers,
sure. Yeah.
In terms of baseline units, I don't know. Maybe because I think your elite slot is probably looking really chocker. Maybe you say flawless blades are fast attack. I don't know.
Yeah, they are slightly faster.
Yeah. Because I think you got Noise Marines, Terminators, maybe
Spawn could be fast attack, right? Like
Spawn were fast attack in the other Chaos Codexes, so Spawn would be fast attack. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's kind of interesting, right? So like I think there's some cool pull that you could have there. It does get really tough for the newer codexes or the ones with the less structure you have. The less model units options you have access to, the more open the Force Org gets, right? Because if you only have 2 options in fast attack, it's not really like, oh no, I'm being pulled. Do I take 2 and 1 or 1 and 2? Like you're not really getting. Yeah. Like you're not really getting pulled that much. Whereas like it hinders the armies with more optionality. You know, your CSM, your both Space Marines, you know, and then just random others like Necrons have quite a few units now. Like, so like I don't know if that kind of works, but I do like the idea of like if we're staying with detachments in 11th, having like restrictions on detachments. Like you can only take 2 units that are tagged elite in this detachment. So I can only take 2 of these. So and you just have to tag things with new keywords, right? Keywords are just a thing in 40k now, so it's easy enough to like, okay, cool, these things are tagged with elite. We don't have to lock them down into all these different zones anymore, but like it could just be like a keyword addition.
Or if you don't want to, thinking on that keyword thing, if you don't want to, sorry, I'm actually just going to reiterate what you were saying, I've realized, but I did see someone talking about like with Victrix, the like having epic hero tags for things that are not characters. Like the elite tag means you just take 1.
Yeah.
Like that could be the Well, the other thing I quite like with that sort of system is characters unlocking extra choices. Like you take Corsair Khan, you get 2 more fast attack choices. Shitty rule, but like if you have that somewhere else, Manius Calgar gives you 2 more elites. Oh wow, we take 4 Victrix Guard.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I like stuff like that because again, it adds to the building. It adds to the like. Sometimes more restrictions actually make for a more enjoyable process of building something. You know, like when everything's really open, it can be a bit boring. Like we're like, now there's pull. You know, when there's pulls back and forth, like it makes things a lot more interesting. So yeah, what do we got for your next question, my king?
We have. Where is my trusty screenshot? Is the balance between secondary and primary scoring in 10th edition correct?
I think it is correctly weighted. I think the balance is fine between secondary and primary and secondary, for the fact that I think primary needs to be slightly stronger than secondary. But I would be interested to see a game where it is flipped the other way, where you can score 50 secondary, like action cards, and then only 40 primary, and see how that would feel. But since we haven't ever played that way, my mindset was like, it doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel bad that, like primary is the main like way to play it. 40k has always been a game where, holding objectives. Now that these like neoprene mats, but they used to just be like little tokens and stuff. Like holding those was how you won games. And some games, and like when I first started, it was just end of turn 6. Whoever was holding objectives, the more objectives won the game. That was it. Like absolutely madness.
See, I counterpoint to that, and I remember because I was listening to a podcast recently where whoever was on it was saying they didn't like that the secondary deck isn't telling you to do secondary things. Like they're so far within the ambit of what you want to be doing anyhow that you're just, you're no prisoners thing. You're tempting target. You want to flip their primary anyhow. Like actions are taxing, but they're also just like in the middle objectives anyhow. Whereas like last edition, it was very much like you're doing an action in the middle every turn with like, warp locus or whatever. Like only your psychers can do that. So like you might, like I remember I took a Zangor Shaman with Temporal Surge and he'd just be warp locusing every turn. But if I lost him, it was really hard to warp locus. And I miss building lists with plans like that, but I also miss the dynamic of like
GSC into custodies, that I don't beat you on primary. And there is no plan in my list or in list building which does beat you on primary.
Yeah.
But I beat you on secondaries, and the game is balanced that way because like I do just go behind enemy lines, establish locus, and we away I go. But you're smashing me on primary, and we're both trying to, like. So I wonder if there is sort of scope for some factions can score secondary way better, and some can. And I know that exists to an extent to just like emphasize that sort of difference and to kind of bring fixed back a little bit.
I want to abolish the tactical deck.
I agree. Yep, fuck the tactical deck. It's more fun. I will give it that. And I think if you want to bring fixed back, it can't be with the tactical deck secondaries. Like you need to bring back more on ninth ed fixed secondaries.
Yep.
But they're good for the game. Like if I mean Katana too strong for this to be an example. I was going to say, but like if Bring It Down Assassinate was real, it would help with that. And that's sort of what like ninth. In ninth, that was just like a thing. You go, oh, here's your Grizzled Company list. You go, we're going Warp Locust, Bring It Down. Like that was a way to balance the game.
I remember.
I think there's scope. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, you go.
Oh no, that was it.
Yeah. I remember when we were playing ninth, and I think it was when I was testing my list for LVO, and you could take, you just picked your secondaries and you just did your kind of game plan, right? Like that was kind of how you did it. And I was just talking to a couple of people, and what would have made it interesting, because like for Tau, you just always took the same three basically. Like unless you're going, because you could pick Montcalm at the start of the game, and it was just kind of like it's this whole thing. But like you just always pick the same three, and you just always play the same game plan. Like you literally just didn't change, which was kind of boring. But we were talking about like having say like 9 secondaries, and you pick 3 at the start of every battle round, but you can only pick each one like 2 or 3 times. Like you have a limit on how many times you can pick each one. So you could like.
It's a little bookkeeping.
It is a bit of bookkeeping, but like it means it keeps it fresh. So you can't just have the best thing and just have to do it 5 times. Like it's just a way to like have some freshness. So you could like you had to adapt somewhat. You could still have like a bit more of a rigid game plan. Like I'm going to start with these, but I might mean like I don't start with the best ones because I know I can do them in the later game. So I'm going to try and, do these easy ones first.
Didn't Ninth got around that with like the categories though, right? Because I was trying to think, I was trying to make a joke about how I was like Thousand Suns with Warp Locust, Psychic Interrogation. But then I was like, you can't because they're the same category. So you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I think you just get around it with categories.
Yeah, that's true. It just becomes, when you just can pick the same 3, like when your game plan can be, because like the Tau one that like for either the first 3 turns or the last 3 turns of the game, you just had to hold half the objectives in No Man's Land to get 3 points, was genuinely just like the easiest thing to do. You could just plan for it so easily. And then it was like what Cleanse used to be, which was just like be on 2 objectives. Oh, neat. That was like what I had to do those turns anyway. Like, so it was like you just basically had this like very like bland. Like it worked. It was very good, but like it was just very bland. And I don't want to go back to that where it's like there's just one obvious set of 2 or 3 cards that you pick, which is I don't know how to like the tactical deck is great in that regard, where it at least makes you have to play differently every game. You can't play the same way. And the fixed options, you just, unless you have a very, very specific list, you can't really, play fixed all the time.
Yeah. You would need to fix what they were, because GSC was the same thing. You have, I have more models on the board than you do, and I kill your units.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Grim.
Yeah. I remember it being like Thousand Suns. I remember being something that most games I would pick different secondaries. Like it would be one of the psychic ones, and normally a kill one, or like if I did out unit them in action.
Yeah. Yeah. And like that could be good. That might be enough, as long as it would be lovely if like in a tournament, like you couldn't pick this exact same 3 each like round.
Oh,
But like, again, it's just too much bookkeeping as well, you know? Like, you could pick 2 of the same 3, but you can't have the exact same 3 pack every time. But again, it's just too much bookkeeping. You couldn't do it. But like, you know, just to make it so like games, you know, weren't always the same. Because it means like earlier in a tournament, you might be like, well, okay, like I'm gonna like risk by taking like a slightly worse one for this game, or you know, stuff like that. Could make it interesting, but I don't. Yeah, is it worth it though? Like, does it do enough? Or, but yeah, you get burned by secondary cards too often for me to want to keep that around. I'd rather have something else.
And they're just not like, I don't know. You're right. It's too too random.
Yeah.
But it's also like they're not even that interesting. You know, like they're kind of what you're doing anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd say other than the action ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could probably get rid of all the kill secondaries out of the deck and change them for more different things, and it'll be better. Because like killing things you're never going to be like, it's either completely dead because like it's bring it down and there are only vehicles like on the home field or something, so you're not going to do it, or it's something that you're probably going to kill anyway. Like I never been like, oh fuck, I'm going to have to kill this transport now. I was like, oh cool, like I was already wanting to. The only time it comes up is like when it's left on 1 and like, oh, I don't care to kill it, but I'm going to throw a grenade now just to get the card. Like, but that doesn't come up often enough to really be that big of an issue. So
yeah, it's like as long as it's not like turn 1, maybe 2, No Prisoner is probably the best card on the deck, right? Because it's just like incentivizing what you're doing anyhow. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so like one's too volatile with the deck, and then the other one's too docile, right? Like where it's like too fixed, it's too boring. There needs to be some kind of like balance there. Whereas like you can draw cards for 2 turns of the game and then your fix comes in. But like that sounds horrible as well. So like I don't know.
It sounds really RNG. Like when I hit my secure no man's land extend battle lines and you keep getting marked for death assassinate. Bro.
Yeah. What about say there's more cards in the deck, but at the beginning of the game you get to say there's 30 cards, but you only play with 20 in the deck. So at the start of each game, you can pull 10 cards out.
Nah, because you'd always just pull the optimal 10, and it'll just be the same thing. Like the deck may as well.
But like it gets different. But you can have more kill secondaries then, right? Like or like things, you know, like kill two vehicles or something. You know, if so they have a bunch of vehicles, hey, that card's actually like not a dead draw. You know, so like things that could scale a bit better against certain things. I don't know. It might not be the right thing. If you're against an army that you can't kill, just slam in all the action secondaries so then you can just try and outscore them that way. Like, I don't know, maybe there's something there. Logan says in chat, how about if you could pick the secondary cards from the entire deck each turn, but once scored are removed? So so it's effectively fixed each turn, but it has to be changed?
Yeah. That's interesting. I do wonder if you like it's probably better than what it is now, but you feel like at the mercy of, you know, you have your go turn, you're like sick, you pull no pres, bring it down out of the deck, and then you bounce, and then they're gone, and you still you know, like it feels probably better most of the time, but prone to some very big RNG moments.
You could do it that you could choose to draw or choose to pick, but if you draw, they're worth like the full amount. If you pick them, they're worth the fixed amounts. Like you can guarantee these points, or you could risk for higher points.
Or maybe new orders lets you pick one. Like that's and you do it before you draw.
Yeah,
you're like I'm behind new orders. You just pull one out of the deck.
That's actually dope because it costing you a resource to then guarantee things like oh, I'm going to kill this 20-man unit. Cool. I'm going to just pull Cull out of the deck because I'm going to slam it down this turn. Like that's like genuinely quite good, right? Like this 1 CP is giving me 5 points. Excellent. Like even turn 1, like, hey, I just want extend turn 1. I'm just going to slam my first CP. Like,
honestly, that probably becomes the meta play, right? Like you take your CP gen character and you go extend or secure no man's land.
Whatever one gives you good board presence. Like, cleanse early because hey, I can get onto 2 objectives. Cool. I'm just going to cleanse early. Get it out of the deck because I don't want that on like turn 3 when I want to be charging you with my whole army. Like That can actually be quite fun. Like something along those lines. Like again, we just need something to make it a bit spicier, a bit more exciting, and a bit more a bit less volatile, a bit more interesting to like kind of have the like more manipulation of the deck would be very cool. Being able to like having characters with abilities at the beginning of the your turn before you draw secondaries, looking at the like in Magic the Gathering and card games, there's like an ability called scrying, which is looking at the top card and you can put it on the bottom. So like looking at the top card, I don't like that. Goes in the bottom, and then you draw just a brand new card, right? So you just instead of drawing that card, you can put it at the bottom, and then you get some like card selection in a way. So like having characters or having abilities like that could be kind of interesting. It could even be that you have to discard it, so then you can't draw it again later in the game or something. Like so like you're losing out.
I do actually think, just like kind of as an aside to lots of the things that we've talked about, characters could have been done so much better. Like characters could have had that. They could have had force or manipulation-esque stuff, like take more of X unit, or this character unlocks this unit. Like there just could have been lots of interesting stuff with that. Yeah,
I think that could be really cool. But we don't have that. So hopefully 11th edition, hopefully they spice it up some way. Like the thing is, I don't think that they will, because it isn't broken. The only reason they'll do it is if they want to change the game. But like they over the course of 10th, they've actually changed like the decks very minimally. Like a couple of the cards have changed, some of them have been tweaked, but throughout the entire edition, it's actually been very standard, which is, I think, my biggest gripe with 10th edition so far, is that it's felt, the games themselves have felt very similar throughout the entire edition.
Yeah. I miss Capture Enemy Outpost. That's the one they should never have removed. Bottom of 5 with Magnus still alive, you pull Capture Enemy Outpost. Oh, bring it back.
Hell yeah.
So good.
So I think we've got time for one more round of questions. I have a couple that I want to talk about, though. This is the issue. One of them is just a meme that I wanted to talk to you about the new Defiler. So real quick aside, thoughts on the new Defiler? Yeah. And do you think it fits with the EC? There's no rules for it yet, just the model itself. But do you think that the aesthetic will fit with Emperor's Children? Because I don't think it looks good for Emperor's Children at all. It's like they're like the slender kind of like, sexy looking thing, and then just big chongas. But what do you think?
It looks. So I got thoughts on this. Firstly, I love it. Whether or not maybe I think you make a good point. Like it doesn't quite fit. It's a bit bulky for EC. Generically, and like playing Thousand Suns, and then also probably looking across the table at it in every other Chaos Army, I think it looks great.
Yeah.
And I miss when I was a kid, I had a Defiler that I got rid of, and if I'd still had it, I would have put it on the table.
Yeah.
It's the aura is crazy. Does it fit with the EC aesthetic? Like maybe not that much, but also it doesn't miss it a heap either. I don't think. Like a Mauler Fiend doesn't really fit with the EC aesthetic.
Yeah, the tentacles kind of help a little bit. Like the Mecha Tendrils do kind of like.
I'm sure you can give the Defiler Mecha Tendril. It's got the power skirt.
Oh, true.
Just turn it into a heaps of
turn it into a
whip. Tasseled whip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. The other thing I think is I've seen a few people talking about the preview images, and it looks like it's fully posable. Like the legs can do whatever, so you can probably pose it to look a bit more lithe, I think, or lithe, however you say that word. So I think that's cool. And then I also think like it looks super kit bashable as well. Like different head, different arm. Like there'll be stuff you can do.
Give it some demon wings or something. So it's like cool.
Yeah, make it a snake.
Hell yeah. just give it Fulgrim's bottom half.
Yeah. When it comes out on the same base size as Fulgrim, just have 3 Fulgrim tail Defilers. But no, I probably will, because with some of my stuff, like I have a fleet of rhinos. Some of them are EC, some are T-Suns, and I just like I'm not going to bother repainting them. Same with one of my Demon Princes and Sons paint scheme. I'm not going to repaint it. Defiler, I may just buy 2 and paint a Thousand Suns one and an EC one.
I think that tells everything that I need to ask right there. Is like if you're tempted to buy two, like one for each army, that's the telltale sign that it's definitely a good model. I don't know what's wrong with it. When I first saw it, I was like, "There's something wrong with this." But
I don't think so. I think you're crazy. That's also telltale that it's me, right? I've never done that in anything to avoid painting.
That's fair. You're grown wise in your old age. Like, no, I'm actually going to become a painter.
Move to Dunedin, move to Stirling, commission paint.
Hell.
Play easy armies. Yeah.
Okay. Now on to my actual question then, because I just wanted to get that one out of the way because I think the New Defiles looks a bit weird. I think it's the proportion. I think that's what I think is off about it. But
it's differently proportioned. But I'm gonna, just in case Logan leaves chat, I'm gonna ask my meme question because I want Logan to hear it. It's why is it correct that Imperial Knights be removed from the game in 11?
I think there should just be the conglomeration of Grey Knights, Imperial Agents, Imperial Knights into one book.
Minus Grey Knights, I agree with you. I think Grey Knights get to be their own thing. I think fuck them. Fuck them.
I could definitely see that, but I think without Grey Knights, that book becomes like very odd. If it's like Imperial Knights, it's basically just Imperial Knights at that point because it's Imperial Knights and Agents. So you need something else to like flesh it out, like AdMech, but AdMech is good enough as its own faction as well. Like
squat AdMech, that'd be crazy. No, I reckon it fixes all the issues with IK because you go here are your little scoring idiots. You are now not a skew. It fixes the issues with agents. Here's your Knight Paladin or whatever. Here's your damage. And it means I never have to play a Knights army again or a pure Knights army again, which is glorious.
Yep. Logan says roll back Knights into AdMech like an 8th. That's the other way of doing it. Is just like because like they make the Knights, right? Like
yeah. What happens with the Chaos ones though? Chaos, you just bring out Darkwing.
Yeah, Chaos Knights have always felt more of an army because like the War Dogs feel more fleshed out.
I guess I still hate them. It's the skew that I hate. Like if you roll them into agents and then you have a Force Org chart as well, completely fixes the skew thing.
Yeah, definitely. How does a Force Org chart work with Knights? It's like it just doesn't. They had to have their own special detachment in every edition so far because it's always been an issue. So you Chaos Knights is a weird one because like you don't want to add them with demons because that feels like odd.
You could. You just call it Frankie. Codex Frankie.
Yeah.
That's
the Sock GUI army. Yeah. Like I think they would like something along those lines, like amalgamate some amount to be together, whether it's AdMech and IK or demons and CK, whatever you want to do, even if it's like IK just becomes a part of CSM because CSM is already a bit of a more weird conglomerate because they have like cultists and stuff like that as well and ACDCs. Like they're already a bit more weird. If they just had the Knights range, and that probably isn't the end of the world. But yeah, something along those lines for that I think would be fair. Anything to stop like the issue with IK and CK is what you kind of alluded to is you build them in a stat check because that is the only way to build them. There isn't a way to not build them that way. There's not even you're incentivized to. It's just you have to. So it's a bit rough. Whereas that gives you other options, which is great. On to my next question, and this is the one that I did tell you beforehand, because I was giving you a vibe on what the questions are like whilst you were writing your questions. And this is, has the game gotten too damage focused?
Great question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't. I would say it's definitely not in my mind as bad as I've heard some people say. Like I think particularly some of the more casual players or some of the more sort of like narrative players tend to be like, well, it's way too damage focused. But I think some of them are sort of at the perspective where nothing should die in one hit, kind of where you should always have some kind of whether it's models or wounds left. I don't know. Maybe I think the gameplay pattern is too damage focused. If that makes sense. Like particularly on GW terrain, it does feel like it boils down to who wins, sort of like the fight. Like at some point, you're going to force your opponent to engage, or you're going to engage, and then you're going to try push them off. Right?
Yeah,
and you will fail or succeed at that. WTC feels like there's a bit more scope for sort of playing a slower game or a more passive game. But I still think either way, the pattern of gameplay does revolve around killing your opponent too much. Whether or not like actual unit profiles are too lethal, I'm not quite. I think we're probably teetering close to the edge. I don't know if I would say we're quite too lethal yet, but we are quite lethal. Would be my answer. Yeah.
I think it feels more like damage focused than it actually is, because there's things like Catan in the game right now. So I feel like because everyone's kind of thinking, I need X damage to be able to kill this thing that is probably 100 points too cheap for what the durability that it has. So it's feeling like there's like a damage race right now. But I think if you take away those and you take away like the triple Land Raider Custodes kind of stuff, like if they all get pointed, just the Land Raiders only need to go up like 15 points each, and you probably that list probably loses the Land Raider, right? Because you need like the action pieces. You can't just play it the other way.
At which point is it good?
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a very thin line where that list just becomes like average. It's good right now.
Yeah.
It only needs a little tiny tweak, and it's just average. So it's the stuff like that. Now that we're seeing a lot of like toughness 12 spam, whereas like because knights came down, everyone's like, oh cool, my like anti-tank can kind of come down a notch. And so the toughness 12 stuff is actually the stuff that's still around is like, oh actually these are still really good, like our Repexes, our Land Raiders. Let's just start slamming those and the land forts, all this kind of stuff, because people aren't now teched to beat them. It's like they felt like very hard to kill. So that's kind of like, it's one of these things, and it's always going to be a meta call. Like there's going to be times in the meta where damage is really important, which I think like right now it is. It's either important for volume or like high damage, right? You kind of want to fall into one of the two. You don't need to do both. It's better to do both, but some armies can't do both well. So you just focus on the one. Like orcs, they can do volume like fucking no one else, but it's all on melee, and it's like not the greatest thing in the world. Whereas like Guard do it really good in both. They have lots of small arms fire, and then they have Dawns just to do Dawning, and they even have Vanquishers to like do the really heavy damage if they need be, right? So they kind of can hit all those different breakpoints. And then you have EC, which is kind of actually a lot of like damage 1 and 2 for the most part, right? You have a little bit of damage 3 with like the princes and stuff, but it's like majority of your damage is just ship damage through your opponent.
You have a bit more because noise brings damage 3 as well, right? Sure, I'd say you are lots of damage 1, 2, and 3, but you're not any other damage. Like, those are your options.
Sure.
Yeah,
and it's a mix of ranged and shooting, ranged and melee, sorry, which is like definitely is a good place to be. So but also it's not just volume, it's also the strength in that, right? So like it doesn't matter if you're height, like Melter is the weirdest profile of the game right now, right? It's supposed to be this anti-tank thing, and it's like it ruins 90% of the tanks in the game on 5s. It's like, what are we doing here?
It's weird. Yeah I genuinely think they just wanted to kill Melter, because I remember in 9th Melter was just like the everything, like Melter just killed everything. So they were just like, Melter is going to be shit in 10th, so they didn't. Melter is exactly what it was in 9th. They didn't change it from the they maybe lowered the volume a little bit.
I think it's it literally is exactly the same. It was like it was strength 9 before, which was god tier, and now it's
it didn't scale it with toughness.
Which is like, to be fair, how it's played out is fine because it does its thing and other things have taken its place. But it does feel weird that it, like, for every other edition it's been the anti-tank killer, and now it's like just nothing. But
it's like the best thing to ship elite infantry with.
yeah, exactly. It's turned into the elite infantry, and then like when you spike it, because like some things like Sun Forge Retributors, eradicators get rerolls, right, with it. So then it becomes anti-tank again, right? Especially if you get like +1s to wound or stuff like that, or like stuff like that can really help make it anti-tank again. But like, is that now you need workarounds to get it to anti-tank. But where I was going with this is, yeah, you need like multiples. You can't just have volume, and then it can't be like strength 1. Like you can't just have high strength, but then it's like damage 1. Like you have to have at least like a couple of these, right? It can be high strength and volume, or it can be high strength and damage, but then your volume's not there. Like there's like the triangle, and you need at least 2 of them to like have to be part of that. And I think it's the damage is too much when armies are ticking all 3 boxes. When you have volume, high damage, and high damage doesn't necessarily actually mean the damage characteristic is high. It's like it could be like high AP, right? Because they kind of like more damage is going through. So that's kind of what I think. How that kind of like runs out in the end of the day is there's a bit of there is a damage race happening, but I think once Necrons go, the damage race can kind of just stop and be a bit more chill, and I think we'll be okay. But I thought it was an interesting question for that reason. It's like I think there's a very much back and forth there.
I think, yeah, as long as the other stuff gets nerfed as well, right? Because I think there is a world where Necrons go away and then other stuff doesn't, and then like triple Land Raider Custodes, Blades of Ultramar on GW terrain, Guard. Yeah, sorry everyone, I'm wandering around the house a lot. All that stuff just becomes better, right? Because like people are no longer as Catan concerned.
Yeah, it's very fair. Okay, finish us off with our last question, Take.
Right. Where is my screenshot? Okay, here's a good one to finish off with, I think. It is like we planned this. What is the number one most important must change thing for 11? Like you get one thing. And that is I did add for the health of the game was the wording I used.
Must change? I don't think it will change, but one thing I would really like is to have less units. I think if everything went up 15% in points, so you just had slightly less of an army, it would be better for a lot of things. Tate's gone for a little bit. I don't know where he has gone. We'll put his little thing up for now. But yeah, I think if you just had slightly less stuff, would actually solve a lot of the issues that there is in like it solves a lot of the tournament issues, which is I think for me one of the biggest issues is if we could get 4 rounds in a day, that would be killer. If you could play 7 rounds in a weekend, fuck, that would be sick. You know?
I don't know if I agree with you, but I don't know if everyone would agree with you.
Oh no, I don't think it's a popular opinion. But I think like being able to play more, even just being able to test more games, like, you know, if you're trying to figure out your faction, being able to play 2 games in an evening can easily, instead of being like, oh cool, we have to get this game done by 7 so then I can play my second game. Like, no, games only take 2 hours. Like, that would be sick. Like, and I don't think you need to drop that much points to get to a point where that's feasible. Like an hour each side, like you don't actually need that much to drop the time by, 20 minutes, half an hour per person.
So I don't know if I dropped out before I got this bit in, but I did specify for the health of the game. Did you get that bit?
Yep. I still think that's healthy for the game. Like being able to play more 40k, I think is healthy for the game. And it also means there's less things that you need to think about. There's less units in your army, so there's less decisions you have to make. Like there's literally like it drops everything down a little bit, makes everything a little bit more accessible, a little bit easier. Whereas I feel like over the last couple of editions, its armies have gotten slightly bigger and slightly bigger and slightly bigger. Nothing's ever gotten smaller. So I think that is healthy because, it's less to paint. It's more accessible for newer people getting into it.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all these kind of things, like it helps all these kind of breakpoints. It makes AdMech an accessible army for people because, it's $500 less to buy because like everything is ridiculously expensive for that army. Yeah, so I think everything going up in points and just basically staying the exact. If everything else stayed the exact same, but everything went up like 15-20% in points, so you just had 15 to 20% less stuff, I think it would just feel much better. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
That's interesting. I don't know if I jumped on and missed you saying this, but I think it actually like really helps with balance as well, right? Because you just can't like, assuming scoring works in a similar-ish way and you have less things, action economy becomes really important. So you can't sink all your points into spamming like the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes the MSU armies like more interesting in a way, right? You know, your GSC, like I get a bunch of little shitters and stuff like that. So like you can play that kind of more action intensive game, right? So like that's like, you know, quite good. Whereas like Ultramarines, like, oh, well, I still want, you know, my 2 Rep X's, I still want Guilliman and I still want Calgar. That's now 1,200 points on my list. Well, I just don't get enough of other things, you know? If JPI were 130 points, you know, 120 points, like it's like, oh, everything is just that little bit more expensive, so you just get less stuff. It does definitely help the already cheaper. Like obviously they scale harder the more expensive. If everything is getting holistically more expensive, the things that started cheaper holistically, I think it's slightly better. Because you still get a higher volume of things. I think that's how it maths out, but I might be wrong with that. But like that's where I would go, is I would just make everything cost more.
Yeah, that's cool. That's not what I expected, but that is a good answer.
Well, what did you expect? What is your answer?
I didn't think about answering any of my own questions. I thought about asking questions, not what I thought about them. I'd want every faction I play to be really busted. No.
This is genuinely something that could be fun for an edition. Just everything is cracked. Like just like every rule that comes out is just absolutely cursed.
2-up rerollable Invon is not happening again.
Hell yeah. Yeah. But then you had the thing that counters that, right? So like everything is just like rock, paper, scissors. Like, it would be horrible. Like the meta would be absolutely garbage. But it would be funny. But yeah, I
think I had my answer, and it was triggered when I said 2-up rerollable Invon. It was I would decrease durability.
Yeah.
I hate you. I fucking hate. I hate high toughness. I hate I roll 4s, you lose. Like it's so stupid. I think Invons should be epic hero only. That is my controversial. I think your Primarchs can have an Invon. Your Ultramarines, Invon the army. All the Guilliman, Titus, Wardens, Invon gang. But I think epic heroes get Invons, then like that is your crazy defense on the Primarchs. It's not that they're all like -1 it's that they're a high toughness model with an Invon. Like they're a tank with an Invon. And then like just like heavy infantry with a like race, anything in Custodes, just suck a dick. Learn to play 40k. Like holy shit.
Yeah. I think my biggest gripe is when they have both durability, where it's like they have Feel No Pain and Invul. When you only have one of them, I feel like you can just kind of brute force your way through it. But like Wraiths having both just becomes, it kind of often breaks, and they also heal. Like they get other things as well, which is just obnoxious.
Yeah.
But like Custodes, like Wardens, if they didn't have the Feel No Pain, are just pretty bad. You know, like.
They just don't do anything. They're just worse guard.
Yeah, exactly. Guard with -1 to wound is not like that great, but it means that they could come down in points, which is like an interesting dynamic. But
they're still just not. They have to just be
don't
like,
do enough.
I straight up Invons get fucked. Like that is it. Feel No Pain, like in something, because like my Xenocreed list, I have bricks of Metamorph hybrids with a 4-up Feel No Pain because they have the Icon Lord.
I don't like that either. That's horrible.
They die. They get genuinely. They have been one-shot by things because they're 1 wound and they have a 5-up save.
Yeah, I think it's one of those balance things. I don't like Feel No Pains because they also slow down games. Just have durability in a different way. Like,
lean into toughness more.
Yeah.
Like, have some T14.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just have like -1 to wounds, you know, being more like just having like -1 to hit, -1 to wounds, because math wise, like -1 to wound is the same as like a 5-up Feel No Pain, but a 5-up Feel No Pain is way swingier, right? Like,
yeah.
So it's like, well, it might be a 6-up Feel No Pain, you know, but you know, just scale it the same way. So it's just, I'm always like a Grinch with this because like I love rolling dice, but at the same time, rolling dice is the slowest part, and also like the most feels bad part of 40k. So coming from the tournament side, I want games to be done faster because I want to be able to play more games, because more games of 40k is more better. So getting rid of like extra rolls, like extraneous rolls, like rerolls themselves are obnoxious. As a competitive player, I love them because I love the consistency that they give me. But like when you have sustained hits, lethal hits, critting on 5s, and rerolls, it's just an absolute nightmare to be like, oh, I'm going to pick those ones go over there, but these ones come back in, and then I'm going to reroll these ones. Oh no, these ones go out, and then I'm putting these ones back in. Like, it's just like, it's so much time just rolling dice, and it's the same with Feel No Pains, right? Like you roll your, you know, they roll the hit, they roll their wound, you roll your save, then you roll your other save, and then you might even regen guys, or you might do another thing. You know, like there's all these things that can come up. Like just make it that you roll your hit, you roll your wound, you roll your save.
I do like rerolls offensively for the purpose of reducing feels bad. For the same reason I like less invons. I like not having my 6 shots rolled 4 2s to hit. That is, I don't like the dynamic of like crit 5s and fishing. I think that's perhaps. I also think there should be a rule that you can't reroll successes. Because I think that's abusive. But I think full reroll strats are actually good because they reduce feels bad. I don't think as many things should just reroll innately. But I think stratagems that allow full reroll, like for a resource or for your characters giving like, and then you remove the ability to just like turbo fish. And I think it's a good mechanic.
I'm to be fair, I love my rerolls. Like rerolls like make things consistent. Like I don't dislike them. I was more saying is like it's just another time consuming part of 40k. Whereas like we can't get rid of all the time consuming parts because then we're just not playing 40k. You still need to have a majority of it there. But like Feel No Pains should be really rare. I think I do agree. I think invols should be capped at 5s maximum for like the durable things, like the genuinely things that are hard to kill. Get a 5-up invol. But like no tank should have an invol basically, like because they just shouldn't.
I don't even think like maybe like your demon princes and your greater demons can have a 5-up or a. Or greater demons have a fuck ton of wounds and high toughness. Greater demons can have a 6-up invol. Demon princes with lower toughness, less wounds can have a 5-up.
They can have an armor save. Like we just give them an armor save.
Don't make greater demons just like a flat 6-up set. Make them like the rest of the stuff. Like Bloodthirster can have a 2-up save, no invon. That's more balanced.
So I think there's a lot of good ways you could go about it, and like it's just how because you can just do the maths. Because like if Feel No Pain gives you an extra effectively 1 wound per model, just give them that extra 1 wound per model. And then you have less variance, and there's less dice rolling, and then it's just cool. Like that's just how that unit operates now. Or you give them the -1 to hit, -1 to wound, so then it scales the same as like the 5-up Feel No Pain, right? Like you can just do these things to kind of mitigate certain things. I don't want to go back to a time, I think it was 9th edition, where you had like transhuman and then trans hitman, where like you couldn't hit on better than an X or wound on better than an X. Like those were both and the worst.
When comboed with the no rerolls ability, like the fucking Black Legion Terminator brick that can only hit on 4s, can only wound on 4s, can't reroll anything. With a 5-up Feel No Pain, it was so stupid.
So I don't want to go back to that. But like those are the kind of things that I do like the idea of, but they just need to be instituted in a different way. Because like you shouldn't be able to stack all those things together, because it just becomes just obnoxious, right? Like there could just be a core rule that you can only have access to like modified hit rolls of X, don't hit, or wound, or you can have a no reroll ability. Like, you can have one of the three, but you can't have all three. Like, and if you have access to multiple, you have to pick at the start of the game which one is going to apply to that unit, kind of thing.
Yeah, or it could even pick command phase.
Yeah,
I think that would be fine.
Exactly.
Like, you can pivot between, but yeah, yeah, or just have less of them in the game, like straight up.
Also that, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Lower durability, less models in the game. You will genuinely be able to play a game in 2 hours.
Yeah.
It'd be hot.
And I think it will just feel better. I think like lower durability, it just feel less like, and it will solve all the, like, it'd be better for the casual game as well. All the like, like the turbo damage, like you don't need turbo damage if you don't have stupid durability.
Yep.
Like,
and if you have less things, you need more like trash pieces, right? So like there's going to be less damage in the game naturally because of that. So
yeah, because it would be bad to just do that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so that's kind of the issue I have with like 2,000 points. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. That us for another week? This is cool. I really enjoyed this, to be fair. I think this was very good banter.
Good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. I came up with this at midday today. I was like, you know what? This would be a dope idea. I'm just going to message Tate and be like, write down 5 ideas. That's very cool. Yeah. No. Yeah, so I think maybe we do this in, whenever we have like a bit of a lull week, something like this could be quite cool. And maybe we can even post in advance on the Facebook and stuff like that to get some of your guys' ideas in there. I think that could be quite cool. So we can throw those in.
Q&A. Yeah. Q&A could genuinely be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if we're big enough for a Q&A yet, but we're getting close. If I posted on my on YouTube, like, so I got the Odyssey viewers as well. So that could be interesting to see, like, if get it, because I could throw a poll up in there and be like, hey, what questions would you guys want answered? And then I might be able to pull off a few more of those viewers over to Skill Issue as well, which would be sick. That'd be cool. Yeah, we might start being a bit more, not clickbaity, but a bit more SEO focused with our not thumbnails, but with our YouTube titles, just so they have like the 40K and everything in them, just so they're a bit more searchable. Because at the moment it's very much just our vibes. So we might start doing that. So if that starts happening, guys, we're not changed. We're not.
Yeah, we're not selling out for Josh Roberts. We're not both becoming Ultramarines players. Yeah,
exactly. We just want to have more of you guys to talk to. So that's the whole reason of doing it, is we want to try and just enjoy what we do. But yeah, that's all I have. Have you got anything else to say, mate?
Yep. No, that's all I have as well.
Yeah. Catch you guys next time.